So let me present Mr. Christophe Zerbi. Christophe is an accomplished software engineer with extensive experience spanning over 14 years in various areas of data science and artificial intelligence. In addition to his technical expertise, he is also a seasoned entrepreneur with a track record of launching and scaling successful ventures. As the visionary founder and CEO of Zaka, an artificial intelligence education and consulting company, Christophe is passionate about promoting the growth of the AI sector with a particular focus on the MENA region. His dedication to advancing AI is further demonstrated through his role as the founder and president of Beirut AI, an esteemed NGO. Through his leadership, he brings together the applied artificial intelligence community in Lebanon, where he designs engaging community events and technical workshops that inspire and empower people to appreciate and implement AI. With his exceptional leadership skills and technical expertise, Christophe is well positioned to drive the growth of the AI industry and shape its future. His passion for innovative and his ability to bring people together to achieve common goals make him a true asset to the industry of AI. Thank you so much, Christophe, for accepting to deliver this webinar on leveraging AI for sustainable development. So I think the link between AI and sustainable development is a very innovative link. So we are here to listen to your webinar. Thank you, Christophe.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Fadi, for the introduction. Thank you also to you and the Fondation Diane for organizing this webinar and for inviting me to be part of this webinar as well. I'm gonna share the screen and we can kick off. Just a second. Okay. So I think the screen is visible. I also wanted to remind everyone to please make sure this is an interactive webinar. So please keep your cams open. At any moment, if you have any questions, you can either raise your hand or write it in the chat. I'm always monitoring the chat. So if the question is about something that is on the slide, I'd be happy to answer. If it's some question that might require a bigger discussion, I'm going to leave that until the end so that we can take our time and have a nice discussion. So Fadi already introduced me, but I want to add a couple of things. But while I do that, I also want to get to know you better as well. So I'm going to open a small poll that I will hope you guys would take a couple of minutes and answer, so I can get to know your level of understanding of AI and a few concepts before we can get started. So yeah, you should be able to see the poll right now. I see some answers already.
Yes,
that's great.
Yes.
So again, Fadi already introduced me. Just wanted to mention, if you haven't noticed yet, that I'm a big fan of AI. I'm a big promoter of artificial intelligence, and I believe that it really has the power to help us achieve great things. So hopefully today, my goal is to, first of all, get you to understand what is artificial intelligence. I think there's a lot of misconception around AI. So I would like to start by defining what AI is, and then we can see some applications of AI that we can find in our everyday lives. And then we will dive right into sustainable development and how AI can help us achieve maybe sustainable development. So I see there's 40% participation so far. I'm gonna wait a bit before we can stop the poll. Happy to see everyone here and happy to have a great wide audience with us today. All right, so far I can see that in terms of the first question, the majority have a basic understanding of AI, so somewhat familiar, 60% familiar, 16% very familiar, which is very interesting, 3% are not familiar at all. Regarding the second question, which of the following best describes AI? Let's see, 43%. I haven't shared the results yet because voting is still coming, but I think I think we can stop it now. So let's end the poll and let's quickly share the results with everyone so you guys can see our distribution. So again, 64% are somewhat familiar with AI, 14 are very familiar, 20% have heard about it, but not much, which is fine because we're going to explain exactly what AI is. If we go to the next slide, what is artificial intelligence? So that's question 2. Which of the following best describes AI? 40% says AI is technology that enhances data analysis and decision making, which is correct. 30% says AI is mainly about automating tasks using predefined rules. That's not entirely accurate, and I'm going to tell you in a minute why. AI is about creating machines that think and learn like humans. That is correct, actually. In terms of the areas, we have 33% who said education, and then healthcare. These are the top areas in which AI will have the most potential, and also business. Okay, that's cool. And what is your primary source of information? News and media, academic courses, social media. All right, perfect. So let's get started. What is artificial intelligence? Again, everyone here has heard of AI, otherwise you wouldn't be here with us today. But I really don't think everyone really understands what AI is and how it works. And I feel it's important to make that connection if you would like to discuss how it can help us in a specific field or sustainability or whatever it is. And I think when I ask you, if I ask you to define what is artificial intelligence, a lot of you might say it's basically robotics, or it's Terminator, or it's something that's going to replace humans, or there's a lot of these notions, right? And I don't think this is entirely true, because AI is not just about robotics. It's not about building humanoid robots that look like us and that behave like us. They might be simulating us in a way, but it's not just about robotics. In fact, if you want to define it, it's about providing or adding some kind of intelligence to machines, right? And intelligence in itself is a broad term. It's not well defined, but whenever we are making any system a bit smarter, a bit behaving more like humans, we are doing artificial intelligence. And if you think about it, this is mostly software. It's much more software than it is hardware. It's much more algorithm. It's much more applications, right? So that's why if I ask you to give me an example of AI, most of you will say ChatGPT, because that's mainly what you guys would know about. So I want to focus a bit on the idea that AI is mostly software, and it's basically what we call software 2.0, or the new way of programming. I'm not going to go into technical details, but just to give you an idea, the traditional way of programming, software 1.0, we had the developer, the programmer, give the rules for the machine, right? We used to give them the rules to execute, and we called those algorithms. And if you don't know what an algorithm is, it's actually like a step-by-step recipe of what to do, right? We used to tell the machines exactly what to do. Do this and then do that and then execute this command, etc. And so the machines were just dumb executors of the recipe that the programmers wrote. And we used to call that a program. And in software 2.0, or when we call machine learning or AI, we actually don't give the rules to the machine, because we don't exactly know what the rules are, but we can know what the output is. So we give the input, which is data, and we give the output to the machines, and we let the machine figure out the rules by itself. And that's what we call machine learning. So the machine is learning the rules. It's not learning everything. It's just learning the rules of this specific task, right? So if I need to, let's say, make an algorithm that can look at images and tell me if this is, a cat or a dog, there's no way I'm going to describe exactly what a cat looks like to the machine, because that's absolutely not possible. But I can collect some images of cats and then images of dogs, and then show these to the machine and ask it to identify them, right? And automatically the machine will figure out the rules of what makes a cat and what makes a dog. And that's a very basic example. And so if I want to summarize artificial intelligence, it's actually building intelligent algorithms. And that's the difference between those algorithms and the traditional ones. These are intelligent because they rely on data, right? So we have to process large amounts of data. And the large here is very important because these systems are not efficient like humans, right? If I want to teach my son to differentiate between dogs and cats, a couple of pictures of dogs and a couple of pictures of cats are enough for him to identify the difference. Whereas an algorithm requires millions of images. So that's why we need large amounts of data where the machines will identify or recognize hidden patterns in the data, right? What makes a cat or what makes a dog or etc. So these are patterns recognized in the data. Then they can use those patterns to perform what we call human-like tasks. So who can give me an example of a human-like task? You can write that in the chat, or if you'd like to unmute and just raise your hand, you can do that. Administrative tasks.
Please? Can you repeat, please, the question?
I was asking who can give me an example of a human-like task. Writing an email, exactly, Christian, that's a human task. Copywriting, that's a human task. Driving, exactly, Ralph. Driving a car is a human task, right? Preparation and planning, exactly. Reporting, translation. Perfect. So all of these things, right? These are human-like tasks. We never see a dog driving a car or writing a text, right? We never see a tree thinking or monitoring or whatever it is, these examples. So all of these tasks that only humans can do, they're human-like tasks. So when I have a car that can drive by itself, I see that this is simulating human intelligence, right? It might not be as intelligent as humans and everything, but at least in this task, it's simulating human intelligence. I see a lot of other examples as well. These are all correct, and these are all human-like tasks, and this is when machines make them, machines are smart in a way. What else? These algorithms or machines can learn from experience, which is exactly what we said. They're not programmed, they learn from the data, from the experience. I show the machine some pictures of art. Eventually, it learns how to simulate them, how to make similar art. It's not learning from a rule, it's not learning from a program, it's learning from experience, from seeing other examples. And finally, and most importantly, they should be able to adjust to unseen input. So if I showed the AI a couple of pictures of a dog, for example, and then I showed them a new picture of a new dog, it should be able to say, this is a dog, right? It should be able to adapt, yes, I know, I've seen this, this is a dog. So that's basically the definition of artificial intelligence. Any questions on that? Anything that's not clear or anything you'd like to ask before we move on? Okay. So I want to, again, we're still ramping up slowly before we dive into the examples. Basically, AI is made up of three main components. We have the algorithms, which we just described, these smart algorithms that can process data. We have big data, right? And we, of course, need hardware. And this is very, very important because this is what's currently driving the whole trend in AI, right? Algorithms are not that new, right? We've had these from the 60s and 90s and whatever data, we've had it for some time, but now we have better and better hardware every year that's driving the whole trend in AI. And that's why NVIDIA is one of the most valuable companies in the world, because NVIDIA makes GPUs, and GPUs are those specific hardware that is required for training and building AI models. So before we continue, it's very important to differentiate between three different types of AI. Okay, has anyone heard of narrow AI or general AI before? Actually, let's hide this. Can someone explain what you think narrow AI is?
Is it specific AI?
Yes, that's exactly correct. Thank you, Farah. And thank you. I don't know who mentioned that. I didn't see your name.
Rana.
Exactly this. So narrow AI are basically systems that are built for specific tasks. They are focused, they are narrow, they are here to solve one thing and one thing only. We call them narrow AI because, as the name says, they're narrow. Okay, for example, Deep Blue is an AI system that can play chess. It's very narrow. It's the best system at playing chess in the world. But if you ask it anything outside of chess, it has no idea whatsoever. The second AI type is general AI, and these are systems that can generalize. They can take let's say, knowledge from one task applied on a new task, and they can basically apply or solve all kind of tasks as well as humans or better than humans. So we call them general AI. And the last type is called super AI or super intelligent AI. And these are systems that exceed humans in every way. They are smarter, they are faster, they are better, they are, every single way they're better than humans. And so the reason why we have to differentiate between the three different types is because 99.9% of AIs that we have today, we are still talking about narrow AI. Okay? Even though they are very impressive, even though they can do amazing things, we are still talking about very narrow system. Okay? We're still figuring out how to go from narrow to general AI, how to make a system generalize. And when it comes to super AI, it only exists in the movies, in Hollywood, in science fictions, and that's it. And so I know you're gonna tell me, but wait, what about ChatGPT or what about this or that? I know it's still somewhere between narrow AI, making its way towards general AI, but we're nowhere near that. Okay, if you've heard of the term AGI, AGI is general AI, and we still haven't reached that yet. Some people say we're gonna reach it in 2 years, in 4 years, in 10 years, whatever. It's still all speculations. We don't know. Technology is that right now we're still at narrow AI, and that's very important to mention, because in the next couple of slides, when we go into the examples, when we go into what can AI do to help us solve this or that, it's important to keep this in mind, right? It's still specific systems built for specific purposes. Okay, so again, if you have any questions, please mention this in the chat. Otherwise, I'm gonna continue. What are some applications of AI that you can see today? There's a lot. I just picked a couple of applications, starting with, of course, self-driving cars. When you have cars that can drive by themselves, they use sensors, they use cameras to understand the surroundings, to know where the road is, where the street pedestrians, where the street lights, etc. And they make decisions based on that. So this is currently a reality. It's not an idea or a science fiction. There are cars right now that can drive by themselves. The next example is virtual assistants. We've all heard of, or maybe used Siri, Alexa, Home, Google Home, all of these virtual assistants. They all use the same AI technologies. They use natural language processing, voice recognition. When I give Alexa, turn on the light, for example, when I give this command, Alexa needs to understand that Chris is giving me a command. What is Chris saying? It takes the voice, it transcribes it into text. It uses natural language processing, NLP, to process the text. And then it understands that, okay, Chris wants to turn on the light, it turns on the light, whatever. So all of these virtual assistants use the same technologies. We also have face recognition. So when I look in let's say at my iPhone and it unlocks the screen, it understands that this is the face of Chris in this image. So it can understand whose face is that, right? So it's not only that we can look and see that there is a face, but it understands whose face is that, and then it unlocks the phone based on that. So that's definitely using AI. The same technology is currently used to monitor animals in farms, in large farms. So I can deploy cameras and have the cameras track my livestock, whether it's sheep, pigs, cows, chickens, whatever. We can even apply facial recognition on these animals. I can tell that this specific cow is not eating well. It's maybe getting sick. I can separate it from the other cows. I can monitor them. I can track them. I can count them, etc. It's very very interesting, and it allows a lot more things to be done. Of course, another AI can diagnose diseases in medical imaging. It's used a lot in healthcare as well. If you open Facebook, for example, or any other social media platform, they rank the posts based on a specific algorithm, right? It's not random, the order of the post. The AI understands your preference, understands what you like to engage with, what type of content you enjoy looking at, and then it looks at the content available and it ranks it by order of what would maximize engagement. And this is basically what happens in every single social media platform, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, or whatever it is that you use. They all use the same technologies. And if you ever used online shopping sites like Amazon or others, or if you've used Netflix, or if you listen to Anghami or any of these content platforms, they all use recommendation engines, which are an AI system that understands the preference of the user and then recommends similar content. So Amazon understands what I like to buy, what kind of things I might be interested in, and it recommends similar items. Netflix, similarly as well, when I watch a movie, it knows that I finished, let's say I watched it to the end, it knows that I enjoyed it, it recommends similar content for me. All of these platforms use the same technology, and it's all AI because it's all based on data, right? They're not writing a specific rule in the program that says, if users watch this, then recommend that. It's all done automatically. So if I suddenly stopped watching this kind of movies and change my style, the whole recommendations will change. It adapts to your interactions with the platform. And finally, last example is translation. We've all used Google Translate, and this is all based on AI. That's why it's becoming more and more accurate, because we're using better deep learning or AI models to translate. So before we move on, any questions on that? Anything you guys would like to add? Am I going too fast? Can you give me some
It's
feedback?
okay, Christopher. It's okay, Christopher. And what I suggest, they will add all their questions in the chat box, and maybe we'll have like a few minutes to answer them.
Okay, sure. I like to keep it, step by
Yes,
step,
yes.
because if something's not clear here and then we move on,
Yes,
it might
of course,
be
of course.
difficult.
was
But
What was the
I'm happy
correct answer for question 3? In which area do you think AI?
there is
In
no
which-
correct answer for that
Okay.
question.
Okay.
This is more of a just gathering feedback.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. So it's all clear for everyone. Can we outsmart AI? For example, when you mentioned that if we stop watching a certain movie, the algorithm will change. I mean, technically, yes. It's not about outsmarting. It's about, that's what it does. It's meant to learn what you like and give you similar things. So if you change, I mean, you can do this experiment right now. Go to YouTube and for the next week, only watch movies, videos about cats, for example. Eventually, it's going to give you cat videos recommendation, right? Or watch something in Spanish and just do that for a couple of days. Eventually, you can see all your feed will become Spanish videos. So definitely, this is the way it's meant. It's not outsmarting it, but actually using it the way it's meant to be used. Okay, so now we're going to dive into, we spoke about AI, we spoke about what AI can do in general things. Now we're going to focus on sustainable development and focus on some specific things. Nada, I'd like to keep that until the end, the AI doomers and what can become in the future. It's a discussion that's better answered at the end. Okay, so first of all, we're going to look at circular economy and understand a bit how can AI help us in that. So what is circular economy? Can someone tell me what is circular economy? Have you heard of the term before? Do you know what it's meant for?
Yes, can I add what I know?
Sure.
Okay, so I believe circular economy is acting like nature, like when you have a tree and a water falls from the tree, I mean a leaf, and then the leaf is a compost, then again the tree will grow. So it's having zero waste, having so this circular economy is having one same resources that we can use and reuse and reuse.
Okay, thank you, Farah. Maroon, you want to add something?
Yes, so I think she got it, but I want to add just some key terms like interaction, osmosis, يعني بالآخر everything is related بطريقة أو الثانية، يعني everything that's going to waste رح يرجع بطريقة generated بطريقة أحسن.
Okay.
It's like
Okay.
circular، يعني مثلا الكوزين بتعمل شغلة الويست بيروح عند الريسيكلاج بيرجع على شركة ثانية، الشركة الثانية بترجع تكبون.
Exactly. Thank you, Maroon. Everything that you guys mentioned is correct. When we talk about circular, we have to talk first about the linear economy. And the linear economy is basically take, make, dispose. So this is the concept. We take some resources, we make products with them, we use those products, and then when we're done, we dispose those products. It's a linear approach, and of course, it has a lot of waste. Whereas the circular economy, we make products, we use the product, and then we recycle. When we're done, we don't dispose, we recycle the product. It goes back into making something else, right? We reuse this, the materials, and it's of course better because we're reducing waste. It's easier for the economy, for the ecosystem, and so it's much better. So the question is not what is a circular economy, but how can AI help in that circular economy? So do you guys have any ideas? Have you seen any, based on what we discussed as well, where do you think AI can help us in circular economy? Oh, these are old answers. Okay. Anyone has any clue? Optimization. Okay, Jean-Pierre, that's good. Mapping facilities, analytics, creating automated machines, provide more data sets. Okay. Inventions, calculation of diversity. Okay, these are all valid answers. So of course, there's a lot of ways that AI can help, right? I'm gonna just focus on a couple of quick ideas. AI is about taking data, finding a pattern, and learning from that. So we can use it for smart waste management, and I'm gonna show you a couple of examples. Let's say smart recycling, smart ways of optimizing routes, managing waste in a better way. So optimizing, someone mentioned optimization, resource optimization as well, in terms of utilizing resources to manufacture something. We can go into the smart ways that AI can impact, let's say, manufacturing. Predictive maintenance is another way where we can optimize the usage of products by maximizing their life cycle, because if I know that I can use it in a, if I can predict that's going to go bad, I can anticipate that, I can fix it, I can maintain it in a way to last longer. So starting, let's say, with the AI-powered waste management, there's a company called Rubicon that has different solutions, like an AI platform that uses smart routing for waste collection. How do I collect waste? How do I monitor the waste levels? How can I make sure that I'm recycling? So there's a lot of, let's say, AI automation happening on the recycling side. I'm sure you've seen examples of AI that can detect, let's say, if this is a glass or a paper or plastic, or what type of object it is, or waste, and automatically maybe route it in a direction to be recycled. So these are things where AI can help us in the automation part. If I focus on the optimizing resources, we talk about manufacturing, and there's a lot of examples of integrating AI in the assembly line, having smart production lines, from managing resources, monitoring the efficiency of the production line, supply chain optimization. I'm going to show you a video about that in a bit. I mean, these are all high level topics. If I want to dive into each one of those, it's going to require us more time. So that's why I'm mentioning them very high level. But I mean, the idea should be clear, right? If I have, let's say, an assembly line, and I add, let's say, a camera that can automatically monitor the quality of the objects or the items I'm producing, then I'm automating also defect detection. So if there's anything that's messing up the quality, automatically it gets mentioned. If something happens in the process where it gets stopped, I'm also able to automatically monitor this, optimize the different processes, not to stop the whole assembly line manufacturing process. Also, when we apply AI monitoring and data collection on the energy management, imagine how much we can save when I'm doing that on the energy side as well. So there's a lot of things that go into manufacturing. Please make sure you are muted, and if you have any questions, just raise your hand and then you can unmute. We talked about predictive maintenance. I don't know if you've heard of this term before, but just like AI can predict something, we can predict when a certain product would need to be maintained. So when I'm monitoring, let's say, batteries in a specific car or truck or any factory, I can predict when this battery would need to be changed, right? And then change it before it goes bad and it disrupts my operations. I can predict failures. I can schedule maintenance in a smarter way. So all of these systems where I'm collecting data about something and then using AI to keep that real-time monitoring, keep that predictive aspect happening. So this is very important, the predictive maintenance. It happens in all sorts of manufacturing and also in constructions as well. Okay, no questions. Now we can dive more into Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs. I'm sure you've heard of SDGs. And what I try to do, because there's a lot of endless examples, I try to take every goal and find one way that AI can help in that goal, right? So I'm sure there's a lot of examples, and I'd be happy to discuss all of them with you at the end. But I wanted to show you, at least for every goal, how and where can AI help. So we have, if you don't know this, we have 17 Sustainable Development Goals that we can group them into 5 pillars, or we call it the 5P of SDGs. The pillars are people, planet, prosperity, peace, and partnerships. Okay, so these are the 5 pillars, and the goals are grouped in those 5 pillars. So to tackle them one by one, starting with the people, AI and people, enhancing quality of life. The first goal is no poverty. So that's SDG 1. AI can analyze data. Of course, that's the basic one. It can identify trends and it can look for patterns in terms of poverty, which means we can help governments and NGOs make data-driven decision making, right? And this is important. And maybe you've heard of the term before. Instead of making decisions based on, I don't know, random things, emotions, whatever it is, we can actually look at data and figure out what's the best plan of action or how to best tackle a certain problem. So this is called data-driven decision making, and that's the step number 1 that AI can really help us with: collecting data, analyzing data, monitoring this, and making that decision happen. So this is easiest example of how AI can help, let's say in the poverty goal. Moving on to the next goal, zero hunger. So AI can optimize farming practices, and of course, using data from the weather, soil condition, IoT systems, crop health, etc. We can better optimize, let's say, farming practices to be able to feed everyone on the planet. And there's an example. This is just one example I'm showing you here, but this is happening in agriculture, where we are combining robotics with smart AI systems that can automate some tasks. So what you can see here on this animation, it's actually a robot that goes over crops. It detects individual plants and it understands each plant's needs, and it gives it a microdose of herbicide. So what currently happens is that farmers would spray all the crops randomly with the herbicide, which is basically time consuming and also has a lot of waste. Whereas in this case, again, this bot is going over it, it's detecting each plant, and based on its needs, based on different conditions, it gives it exactly how much it needs. So it has less waste, and of course it automates the process, so the farmer doesn't have to spend time doing that. So this is called automated agriculture, or specifically it's called precision agriculture, because we're giving each plant exactly how much it needs. And it can do it with water, herbicide, and everything else. So that's one example of how AI is helping, let's say, in that specific SDG. Please, if you have questions on these things, just let me know. Otherwise, I'm just going to continue to go over the next one. Going with the good health and well-being. So that's the third goal. Of course, someone mentioned it earlier. I think it was Nada. AI is helping a lot in diagnosis. So in medical imaging, if you now go, I don't know where it's implemented yet in Lebanon, but there are places where you can go and you have an X-ray or a CT scan or any type of medical imaging, and there's an AI that goes through it, detects, I don't know, some diagnosis, let's say something in the X-rays or cancers or whatever. So this helps doctors, eliminate their time to go over and do the mundane task of detecting things. They can do the detection using AI, and then they can just quickly go over and check that everything makes sense, because maybe AI made a false prediction. Of course, it always goes with a doctor for the final check, but again, it makes it much faster and easier for the doctor itself. So this is basically the third way that it can help. Moving on to quality education. And Farah, you have a question?
Hi, Christoph. All good?
Yes.
I was just doing some research today about how AI can improve in the healthcare. Actually, in Croatia, there's a hospital that is already using AI in cancer detection, especially when it comes to classification, in order for them to know which kind of cancer, and also whenever it comes with the treatment. So then when they want to, like, overcome the lesions where, like, they have like the cancerous cells, they do like better prediction, and they were like really embracing the use of AI and making it so easy for them.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Farah, for sharing that. Okay, so quality education. How can AI help in the education side? So we have systems now that we call adaptive learning that can adapt the content for the students based on each student's style of learning. And in the future, we're going to have personal tutors that can help students or kids learn easier. So I don't know if you saw this already. GPT-4o, which is the newest version of GPT models released by OpenAI, this was released a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to show you a quick video that shows an example of how this is going to help students in the future learn.
Hello there. I'm here with my son, and I'd love you to tutor him on this math problem, but don't give him the answer. You can ask questions and nudge him in the right direction, but I really want to make sure he understands it himself. And he's here in the room, so you can talk to him directly.
Of course, I'd be happy to help. Let's look at the problem together. Can you first identify which sides of the triangle are the opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse relative to angle alpha?
All right, so I'm pretty sure this is the angle alpha right here, right?
Perfect. That's correct. Now, looking at the triangle, which side do you think is the hypotenuse?
Really,
Remember the hypotenuse?
I'm not totally sure. I think it might be this one, but I really am not sure. This side AC.
You're close. Actually, side AC is called the adjacent side to the angle alpha. The hypotenuse is the longest side of a right triangle.
Okay, so we don't have time to watch the full video, but you guys get the idea, right? This is an AI that's helping. It's not giving the answer, it's helping the student figure out how to get to the answer, and it's guiding them. And of course, there's a lot of ways that AI is going to help in the future.
Hello there.
Sorry. Okay, moving on. Gender equality, that's the fifth goal. So AI can, of course, address gender bias. We have a lot of usually biases when it comes to recruitment. I found a platform, a company called Pymetrics, that offer a simple way for recruitment processes. So what they do is they send like games and a certain process for the candidates to play the games and to analyze some data points on them. And then there's no mention of gender or anything like that. So they take this information and they make decision making based on the info without having to refer to gender. And it uses AI to select the best candidate for the job. So by eliminating, let's say, the human biases, and then keep having the platform automate the whole process, we can hopefully have better gender equality. Now, I know what you're thinking. Sometimes the AI itself is biased, but in this case, they made sure to build something that is not biased, right? Because that's the whole point of the platform. So this is with the AI and people. Moving on to the next pillar, which is the planet, and we have the goal of clean water and sanitization, SDG 6. Of course, AI can help monitor quality of water quality and detect contaminants. This is a startup called Clean Water AI. I'm gonna quickly show you a video that shows what they do.
Clean Water AI is an artificial intelligence that uses a microscopic camera to detect bacteria and other contaminants.
The traditional method of testing for contamination is with chemical test strips.
The chemical strips are usually one-time use. With Clean Water AI, we actually use the optical solution by inferencing the entire water flow through the microscopic camera. This way, when a new type of bacteria come out, we can simply train our neural network.
So what they did is they built an AI that can look at microscopic level of water and visually detect the microbes or the contaminants, versus previous approach was using these chemical strips. So technically, you put it in the water and changes color or not, and then you can throw it. This case is much more smart. It's much more automated. And as he says, if there's a new virus or whatever, a bacteria that came out, they can update the model, deploy an update, and automatically the system still works on new viruses. So that's an exciting way for AI to solve this specific goal. Next one is climate action. Of course, we all know climate change and these problems. AI can help develop climate modeling systems and predictive analytics for the climate change. This is a very recent news. 2 weeks ago, I think it was announced, NASA and IBM developed an AI foundational model for weather and climate forecasting. So, it's very hard to properly, accurately forecast the weather. It's getting better and better, and this is because of AI. So this system was trained on 40 years of weather and climate data, and it can really help track storms and forecast and do historical analysis. I'm going to show you also a video about a project that should be interesting.
The world is struggling to cope with the damaging effects that cutting down forests is having on our environment.
There's been an aggressive increase in deforestation since January.
These warm orangey tones, that's forest disturbance. That means forest was removed. We didn't know that was going on.
Deforestation is one of the biggest contributors to climate change. Our best bets to fight it and drive global policy changes are advocacy and awareness, but information is often lacking. That's why we created ATLAI. ATLAI is the world's first public AI reporter, dedicated to protecting global forests by closing the knowledge gap and empowering activism. Launched by Al-Walid Philanthropies, a Saudi NGO fostering a more sustainable environment for everyone. ATLAI.
Okay, so to quickly explain what this is, and by the way, this is very exciting because we at Zaka have worked on this project. We developed the AI part of that. And what this does is we connect to Google Forest Watch. It's a platform that monitors deforestation events all over the world. And what happens is every time there's a deforestation event, a fire or trees were cut or something like that, it triggers an alert. We take that, we create reports, and then we publish those reports with news articles and news media or PR agencies. So what happens is that AI is automatically reporting on deforestation events, which brings awareness about this problem. So this is an example of how AI can help showcase these events that are happening under this climate events. Moving on, next goal is to life below water. And this is also very new. Last week, Google Research and DeepMind released a tool called SearchBird. And the whole goal is to save coral reef. So what they do is this AI monitors sound. They install these sound detectors, microphones or whatever under the water. It detects sounds and it analyzes the sound to help scientists understand how the ecosystem works under the water. It's something called ecoacoustics. And of course, whenever you have a lot of data and you need to automate that, this is where AI can help. So the system helps them go through thousands of hours and then track and understand the health of an ecosystem based on the audio that's happening. So this is the life underwater. When it comes to life on land, same thing. AI can monitor ecosystems and make sure that things are working properly. In this case, I'm going to show you a system that detects fire from space, and it's used in Australia.
Hi, I'm Dr. Stefan Peters. I'm a senior lecturer in geospatial science at the University of South Australia. So I'm part of a team working together with SmartSat CSC and colleagues from Swinburne University on novel solutions for early fire and fire smoke detection. So at the moment there are space-based solutions to detect fire from space using either geostationary satellites, which are very far from Earth, 34,000 kilometers, or lower Earth observation, Earth orbiting satellites, which are about 500 to 900 kilometers from Earth. But the challenge is early detection, because the geostationary satellites all through they can take imagery every 10 minutes, but the resolution is too coarse to detect small files, while the low Earth observation satellite.
Okay, so let me quickly just explain what's happening. Usually they detect using satellites, but they're too high and they're not too frequent. So what they did is they created those microsatellites that are equipped with AI systems, and these systems can detect fires up to 500 meters, and they're much more frequent. So they can immediately detect the fire and contain it before it gets out of hands. So that's for the life on land. And for responsible consumption and production, of course, we talked about it earlier. AI can optimize supply chains to reduce waste and promote recycling. So you've heard of supply chain optimization, but what does that mean when it comes to AI? Let's watch this quick video.
Join us as we take a look at the transformative impact of artificial intelligence on supply chain optimization. A recent study found that 14% of all businesses had adopted at least one artificial intelligence technology. And 65% of large companies globally are now working with artificial intelligence. So let's explore how you can harness the power of AI in your supply chain. First, we'll answer the question, what is demand forecasting? Demand forecasting helps you respond to customer demand changes, which is critical to effective supply chain management. There are multiple methods for forecasting, but why do traditional forecasting methods fall short? Traditional decision-making is limited by historical data and cannot account for new factors. They're also slower at identifying.
So demand forecasting is basically if you can predict the demand, you can predict how much you will need, and then you can work backwards from there. So this is something that AI can help. And then let's just skip to the second part, route optimization.
To answer this question, we must ask how many variables need to be considered when planning logistics. Let's consider the type of vehicle that's being used. Do we know the vehicle's fuel requirements? What time of day are we operating in? Do we know the traffic conditions and number of stops? We also need to know the availability of the items in question. Are there any regulations?
So again, we can help the delivery trucks, let's say, optimize their route, figure out how to maximize their load. So instead of sending 10 trucks to do the same work, we can do it in 5 trucks, for example, because they're loaded in a better way and they're routed in a smarter way. And there's a lot of constraints that go into that, like the size of the objects, the weight, the direction, what type of vehicle, etc. So all of these things can be done with AI to help the whole supply chain be more optimized. I'm sorry if I'm going a bit too fast, but I believe there's a lot of things to cover, so I want to make sure that we end on time. But anything that's not clear, if you'd like me to focus on it or repeat it, please just mention it and I'd be happy to answer. Moving on to the third pillar, the prosperity, fostering economic growth, the affordable and clean energy. How can AI help in that? Of course, there's a lot of energy consumption, and when we have AI that can optimize the smart grid, so we can collect energy from different renewable sources and then use AI to optimize the delivery of that, to optimize the resource allocation. If you can do predictive, demand forecasting, so we can forecast or predict what will be the demand, the energy demands in a specific area or specific, let's say, region. We can make sure to have resources and energy available for that. And then when we predict that's less demand, we can route this energy to another area that might require more demand in that time. So this is all managed by AI that can help optimize that. Decent work and economic growth. Of course, AI can boost productivity, can help a lot in the workplace, and can help us become more productive and efficient. In fact, there was a study done by Microsoft and LinkedIn. It was they do this on a yearly basis. So this year, 2024 Work Trend Index annual report, they asked like 30,000 people about using AI at work. And so 75% of people said they already use AI at work. And interestingly, 46% of them, almost half, started using it 6 months ago. So you can see how how's the acceleration of the adoption of AI in the workplace. And they even asked them questions like, can AI help you be more productive, can help you automate things? And 90% says that AI helped them save time. 84% said it helps them be more creative. 85% says it helps them focus on important work because it automates the boring task and leaves them to focus on the important work. And 83% says they enjoy their work more because of AI. So this is a great proof that AI can help economic growth and boosting productivity in businesses. When it comes to industry innovation and infrastructure, which is the 9th goal, of course, AI through the smart manufacturing, we spoke about the automation, the assembly line, predictive maintenance, all of these things. AI is helping us, build the infrastructure and automate this smart manufacturing in a better way. When it comes to reducing inequalities, which is SDG 10, AI can help us build systems that are more accessible or inclusive. And there's a great project around that, which is Microsoft's AI for Accessibility project. So this is a project for Microsoft where they develop technical solutions and tools to help people be more inclusive. So I'm going to quickly show you the video where I explain some ideas. Basically, they develop inclusive technologies. So they have technologies for people who have ALS or who cannot see properly or who cannot hear. And so they leverage AI a lot in those tools, whether it's in describing the environment. They have a product called, I think, Eyesight or something like that, where people who cannot actually have vision impairment, they can wear these glasses and it describes, the area around them. They can walk on the street and whatever. So they have similar systems like that as well. And it's all driven by AI, obviously. Okay, moving on. Sustainable cities and communities, SDG 11. Of course, smart cities, we're all talking about smart cities now, and smart cities doesn't exist without AI. So one example of smart cities is traffic management. So if we already have cameras and sensors on the streets, and these light systems, so the street lights, instead of this being a static system where it turns on for 30 seconds and then turns off for 30 seconds, we can use AI to detect and understand the traffic and predict that there's going to be a lot more traffic here. So open up these roads, close these roads, detect if there's cars happening here or whatever, and have the system be more dynamic. So this would, of course, manage traffic, reduce energy consumption, and improve public services because we're using AI to detect instead of having a fixed rule-based systems. The fourth pillar, which is AI and peace, building strong and just institutions. The SDG 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions. So here's a tool called PredPol, which is short for predictive policing. So this tool, it's an AI-driven platform that helps law enforcement agencies predict where there might be some crimes and prevent that crime because they can anticipate where might things happen or any event, any crime, any things that might be suspicious. So they use, of course, AI to collect that data and to do this prediction and hopefully have more peace or just systems. And the last pillar, AI and partnerships. Partnerships for the goals, that's the SDG 17. There's a product or a tool by the UN called UN Global Pulse. It's an initiative that utilizes AI to foster partnerships. And what it does, it actually helps collect data from different people around the world and uses that data to facilitate data-driven decision-making for sustainable development. So let's quickly have a look at this video.
UN Global Pulse is an initiative of the United Nations Secretary General. It supports member states and the UN system in using this digital data in order to enable more inclusive and responsive programs and policies. Here are several Global Pulse projects that show how this new digital data can be used to facilitate the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. Analyzing public social media content can help policymakers understand in real time what issues people care about. UN Global.
Okay, so that's basically the idea. Now, to wrap things up and continue, we saw a lot of examples of what and how can AI be applied. Of course, there's plenty of other examples, and I'd love to dive deeper on those, but we have to also mention some challenges, right? It's not as simple as it is to implement those things. So what are some basic challenges that we might face? First of all, the AI requires data, right? Lots and lots and lots and lots of data. So data availability and data quality are the biggest challenge to implementing AI solutions. We need lots of data. We need lots of high quality and reliable data. And most importantly, we need ethical data sourcing. I need an ethical way to get that data from. I don't have to, spy on my users or invade their privacy to collect data. So this is one of the most important missing challenges. And I think that's also one of the things that we face here in Lebanon. We don't have a data culture. So if you want to implement anything, we need to start by understanding the value of data, which unfortunately no one understands, not governments, not companies, basically no one, and in the region as well. So that's the first challenge. That's my second point, Dana. So the second challenge is technological and infrastructural gaps. We need lots of GPUs, lots of servers, a robust IT infrastructure to support AI. We need, of course, good internet. We need electricity, like the basics, which we don't have in Lebanon, obviously, but also sometimes other countries have electricity, but they don't have the computing power. And that's the next play in AI. How can we build data centers that can host these huge AI models and then train these things? So technological and infrastructural gaps are very, very important. They're a key challenge, right, to implement AI. Challenge number 3 is skills gap and knowledge barriers. Of course, we need people who understand this technology, people who know how to build AI, how to train models, how to implement this, how to integrate it, etc. And this is something like a global challenge, right? A shortage of skills professionals. And that's why there's a big need for education and training programs to build AI literacy. And in this case, I would just like to say that this is something that exactly what we do at Zaka. Our programs are meant to help build this AI literacy that is needed in the region. And finally, we have also regulatory and ethical concerns. And AI and ethics, or ethics of AI, are a big topic nowadays. We can talk hours about that, but we need to make sure that we're building, a fair, an unbiased, a transparent system, a responsible system, a safe system. So these things can easily get derailed and can have negative impact. So we have to make sure that we build them in a nice way. So I believe that if we really make sure to properly build these systems to help us, to guide them in the right direction and to avoid these ethical concerns, I believe that really a great future is ahead of us, and AI can really help us build this, utopia that we can think about. But again, AI is not the solution. It's not the problem itself. Humans with their negative maybe biases and ideas and ideologies can really derail that these efforts, and easily we can end up with a dystopian future where AI is actually contributing negatively instead of having a positive impact on our societies. And so to really end this whole presentation, I like to end it with this quote by Stephen Hawking, who said that AI is likely the best or the worst thing to happen to humanity. And it really emphasizes that AI is a tool, it's technology, and it's really how we end up using it that's going to drive the future and the impact. So thank you all for watching. I really hope that we didn't go too much over time, but if you have any questions, anything else you'd like to add, I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Christophe, for this very inspiring presentation. Maybe we can stop sharing the screen. Yes, Lara.
Would it be possible to repeat the slide يلي تبع Stephen Hawking?
We can send you the presentation. Okay. So thank you so much, Christophe, for this very interesting presentation. We have what would be very interesting now is the discussion with Christophe, answering your questions, listening to your feedbacks, and that's why I'm asking you again and again, please, if you can open your cam so we can discuss all together with Christophe. Actually, in the chat box, we have already a few questions. If you want, Lara, Christophe added
the quote from Stephen Hawking.
Quote in the chat box. So in terms of questions, I don't know if there Internet problem. Adana is asking, internet problem, won't that be an issue at some point? I think that you talked about the internet issue.
Spoke about that.
Yes. There's Sohair. Sohair, are you with us? So you can ask your question directly because it is a little bit detailed. Sohair, are you with us? Sohair Khrez?
Yes, I'm with you. Yes.
Please. Can you,
I've
if you can open
already.
your cam, you can open your cam so we can see you just for a few minutes.
No, it's not possible because of the internet.
Okay.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'm working at a medical company. I am always overloaded with work, so I'm thinking, how can I integrate the AI in order to work smarter, more efficiently, and in a short time? So I need your advices, and how can you guide me in this issue?
So of course, there are tools that anyone can use, like ChatGPT, for example, that can help you in a lot of ways. And there are specific tools for your specific tasks. Without going into the details, because I don't know exactly what you do, I think going with a tool like ChatGPT and these large language models, they can easily help you accelerate your work. So I would say if you don't use it already, check it out, learn how to use it properly, and help it, can help you remove those repetitive tasks and help you do things much more quicker. Hopefully this is useful, Sohail. Anything more specific, feel free to reach out. I'd be happy to help you on a specific question.
Actually, if you have any needs in terms of trainings or questions, feel free to add your questions or needs. Send us an email. Judy will add the email on the chat box now, so we can plan with Zaka, with Christophe, like training programs or other webinars to go more in details in the training program. So feel free to send us email to ask us your questions, to express your needs in terms of trainings. I will give the floor. I will listen to some questions from the floor, and then I will go through other questions in the chat box. Jumana Nasser, and if you have the opportunity to open the cam to present yourself when you ask a question, it will be wonderful. Jumana?
No, I'm sorry for not opening the cam, but I'll introduce myself.
I just try, and then okay. Yes.
I'm a civil engineer with an MBA, and I've been working since more than 15 years in sustainable local development in the most underserved regions in Lebanon, starting initially with the UNICEF, UNDP, and now on my own to do things to answer the needs.
What is your question, Joanna?
My question is, again, of course, AI is a tool, and we should always remember that. At one point, unfortunately, we tend to forget this and interact with AI as if they were kind of in a reference, absolute reference. Forgetting that the AI gives you what it was initially fed with as data. So for instance, because ChatGPT was mentioned, if you ask certain specific challenging question to ChatGPT, automatically you know who fed ChatGPT. When you ask specific controversial question and then it's same as so many previous tools developed, the limitations, because the ones who initially set in place and designed those tools, unfortunately, fed them with sometimes biased data or limited data, so that not to basically to cover up on things that are not very much like. So the whole issue is basically how can we get over this limitation of AI, which sometimes is not just a bias by mistake, but sometimes as a deliberate bias to guide choices.
Okay, so we'll ask Christopher, and then I can give you my point of view. Yes, Christopher.
I didn't understand if there's a question or not, but I think what you're trying to say is that sometimes we bias AI by adding, our own bias, right? Is that what you were trying to say,
I think
Jumana?
that she's talking about some ideologies. So sometimes they feed ChatGPT with an ideology, and then when you ask them a specific question, the answer will be given according to this ideology and not the other one.
Yeah.
But if you can tell us more, does it automatically related to what we feed, Christoph?
It's additional. So for example, yeah, of course, OpenAI, they guide the output of ChatGPT, right? They add their own ideology. That's why if you ask it to make a joke about Trump or about Joe Biden, the output is very different, right? One of them would say, yes, I'll happily do it. The other I'd say, no, I cannot joke about that. So it's their own ideology added on top of ChatGPT. It's not just the data, but also they control the output. And this is why we need competition in AI. And that's why we need, not just one big company to have domination when it comes to AI. You need different companies, you need open source, because each one will have their own AI that represents their values, that represents their core beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Is anything now competing with ChatGPT? I mean,
yes.
Is there another
yes.
source?
There are many.
Google has a model. Microsoft have. Microsoft is the same. Meta, Facebook, they released Llama 3, which is open source. Elon Musk is building XAI. They have their own AI. So there's a lot of competition. They're catching up, and I think soon enough, open source AI will beat ChatGPT.
Is there an Arab
Jessica, sorry, Jumana, just to give the floor
welcome.
to other participants.
Yeah,
excuse me.
I think Nada has her hand raised from earlier, so we can start.
Nada, and then Jessica. Yes.
Yes. Hello, everyone.
Yes.
Thank you.
If you can ask a very quick question,
Yes.
so we give the floor to everyone. Yes.
Yes. First, thank you, Fadi and Christoph, for organizing this very informative session. Lately, I heard or listened to an interview, and it was Jeffrey Hinton, who is considered the godfather of AI. He said something that I found very scary. And I want to ask Christoph, what is the solution for what he said? He said that AI may one day be superior to human beings and it may control us. And he justified this idea by saying that because of the huge data, the huge input that is or that AI has now, it may set or establish its own goals and accordingly may perform according to these goals by itself. So, and he gave an example like if you ask later on, if you ask AI who is responsible for the damage of the environment, it would answer human beings, for example. This was his example.
Yeah.
And then you ask it, how can we solve this problem? So by doing what? When there is a problem, you have yes. So it was scary to me. I said, what? This is logical. But how can AI become superior to human beings?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is a problem. I don't know if you've heard about it, but it's called super alignment. And there are people working on, let's say in OpenAI, they had a team called super alignment team. How can we align this technology with our goals? How can we make sure that this technology, how it's powerful, but yet it still serves our best interest and it doesn't, turn on us or decide that humans are the problem and eliminate us. So it is a theoretical problem. It's not something that today we are facing, of course not. It's not something that we don't know when we're gonna face it, right? When AI gets that smart, it might happen in 2 years or in 10 years or in 20 years. So there's a lot of unknowns about it. It might happen, it might not happen, but we should be ready for it. So that's what we can say until now. We don't have a clear answer, but hopefully we will have something in time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jessica?
Layal or Jessica before? Jessica? Yes, Jessica. You have a cam or no?
I'm in the car. I
Okay.
can put the cam.
Okay, Jessica.
ما فيني
Go ahead.
أصور بلا
لا
فيني
لا لا
أصور.
لا لا.
Okay. طيب. So my question is about Lebanon. Do you have an idea of who is doing or what is being done in terms of data sets in Lebanon, work in Lebanon rather than for the Gulf? And if it's related to also development, that would be good, or in general, just work inside of Lebanon?
So if I understood correctly,
Data,
you're
the
asking,
data, about the
yeah,
data.
yeah. There is an initiative, I'm trying to look for the name, that's trying to build like data sets on Lebanese data. Open Data Lebanon, I think that's it. Let me just check it out. But it's not as much as you'd like. So unfortunately, there's little effort when it comes to data culture and doing that. Yeah, it's called opendatalebanon.org. They're trying to aggregate, I would say, data about Lebanon in different sectors under that platform. And that's the only official thing that I know of.
Thank you, Christophe. Layan?
Thank you.
Layan?
Yes, hello. Hello,
Hello,
thank
Layan.
you
Yeah.
very much for this. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much for this very interesting webinar. I would like to ask a question because it was very interesting the way you integrated how AI applies to sustainable development. In the case of Lebanon, we know we're going through this multi-layered crisis concerning the environment and all the pollution and economic crisis, multi-layered crisis. So when it comes to developing a new curricula, how can we integrate sustainable development and AI in the educational system in Lebanon if we are planning to develop new curricula? I'm really interested in your outlook on that. Can you just give me an idea? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think first we need to just integrate AI literacy. All right, so it has to go.
Yes.
Currently, AI is still AI, this big magic unknown. We don't have a clear understanding that AI is actually data plus algorithms, right? So it has to go
Yes.
from this to that. Understanding what does AI mean? What actually does it mean to build AI? What do I need to build AI? I need data. Data is important. I need infrastructure. I need this. I need that. So this is starts with AI literacy, and then you can start to apply it on problems, right? So once these students understand the basics, we can get them to work on projects, and then you can say, okay, what is the solution that you're facing? Pollution, etc., etc. Let's tackle it using AI, because AI, it's not a solution; it's a tool, right? It's here to help us solve a problem. But if you don't have a problem, then it doesn't make sense. So we explain the literacy, and then we tackle it by applying it on problems. So we encourage them to. We do like hackathons, competitions, encourage them to solve specific problems using data. And that's the spirit we need to instill in kids, in my opinion, to get them to become, innovators, to say, okay, here's a problem, let's collect data, let's solve it, let's do something with it. So hopefully this answers your question.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Christophe. Farah?
Yeah, I just want to ask a question regarding, you were mentioning, the importance of having challenges and coming up with innovative solution. Currently, I'm having a project, okay? And the problem is that we're talking now about the importance of data. Of course, like the better the data is, we're feeding the AI, the better the performance will become and the output. So basically, if the data is not the best over the internet, would be our approach into like make a better prediction is basically to create our own. Would that be a solution to be considering?
Yeah, I mean, definitely there are different solutions. There's no one best solution. If you can get it yourself or create it yourself, and you can make sure that it still fits your problem, definitely this helps. I don't see any other way, right? So you can synthesize data, or you can collect it yourself. But of course, it's an expensive process. It takes time and money. But yeah, if you can do it, that's the best case scenario.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Jumana.
You talked about ethics, code of ethics, and I think that a lot needs to be done on this because at the very basic of AI should be a tool to help humans perform best and increase their again, their performance. But what we're seeing now, and the predictions that are being thrown at us, is that a lot of jobs will be cancelled, and that human AI will replace humans. What kind of ethics is this? I mean, transforming numbers of human beings into jobless people and leading them to despair. At the very basic of ethics, something is missing still, which is again, prevent any AI tool that might result into a human being losing their job. This should be at the basics of the code of ethics of AI, and it's not there. But what can be done for this to be revisited?
So first of all, you have to know that there aren't any laws in AI, right? Currently, we just had the AI Act from the EU. That's the first official regulation law that guides the development of AI systems. And this was signed a couple of weeks ago. So AI as a technology has been moving really fast, and regulators have been trying to catch up, and they just barely caught up. So I agree with you. I'm not saying it's not, but there aren't really laws that enforces the development of AI systems to make sure that they are not taking or replacing humans, right? So definitely this is a problem, but also we have other problems in ethics, like the transparency, the fairness, the safety problems. These are also important problems. And I think when it comes to automation and job, let me just say that, every technology in history has always changed the job market. It has, eliminated jobs and has created new jobs. It's nothing new. The difference is that now it's happening so much faster that it's actually scary. So 100 years ago, you had maybe 20 years to adapt, right? To change jobs, to change profession or whatever. Now you have 2 weeks or 2 months, right? It's happening really fast, and that's the problem. But still, AI currently, it's a tool. It's a way for you to get better at your job. So AI will not take over your job. Someone else who uses AI will be better than you, and that person will take over your job. And this is very important, at least for now. 10 years in the future, I don't know. We might get AGI and replaces all of us. Maybe, I don't know. But for now, again, AI is still a tool. You have to learn it. You have to adopt it. You have to be more efficient. You have to upskill yourself. And then if you do that, there's plenty of jobs that's gonna be open for you.
If I may, Jumana, if I may add something, according to the Global Economic Association, more than maybe 83 million of jobs will disappear, but more than 69 million jobs will be created. So as Christophe just said, many new jobs will be created. So jobs will change, but we will always need human beings to do things. That's according to the international economy.
Imagine yourself today in the place of a man who is a driver, and then all of a sudden the market is, you have all those self-driving cars. What will this do? I mean, again,
he will be doing a new job. He will be doing a new job, a different job.
No, what is happening is that people are losing their jobs because there are no prepared programs to rehabilitate. I mean, to prepare those people for the technology that will replace them and for them to go do something else.
Thank you, Jumana.
You're
right, Jumana.
Yes.
Hi.
Saade,
Can I add? Oh, sorry.
Yes, Eli, and then Saade. Maybe I don't know who raised his hand before. Hi, Saade.
Hello.
Hi.
Everybody. Hi,
Hello.
Dr. Haj. How are you?
Hi,
Good. This is
fine,
me and
and
my
you?
husband together listening to this interesting conversation and webinar. I'd like to ask, Dr. Christophe, just a question for you, since you're an AI expert, and it happens that I'm working now with an international organization for a summit about the future of AI. She was talking about the limitations of AI and the ethical values and the ethical implications. I find that the AI Act that was reinforced by the European Commission is not actually followed the way it should be. Now, if you didn't go digital avatars on talking to dead people, on doing things that are really unacceptable, and they cannot just ethically they do not, they're not allowed, though the AI Act says we cannot continue doing these types of things. So what do you think about it? And is the AI Act really been respected in the big industries that tackle the AI? Thank you.
Thank you. That's a good question. So it was, I think, just signed into law a couple of weeks ago, and it doesn't take effect until February of 2026. So that's why I think currently, yes, it's not respected because it's still technically legal to do that. But I think in a year and a half, it's gonna become officially, take effect, I think. So there are legal terms. So that's why I think you still see these tools happening. And this is basically just in Europe. So maybe if a company that's not in Europe, it can do whatever it needs, whatever it wants, and no one can do anything because it's only a European law.
Thank you, Christophe. Elie?
Hi,
So
good evening.
maybe
Thanks
we
for
can have political in Lebanon, digital avatars for our politicians.
Yeah,
it would be great. It would be a good idea. Yes, Elie?
Okay, first, thanks for such an interesting presentation. Actually, I agree that the biggest challenge is not the technological advancement or the breakthroughs in plural that AI will allow, but the ethical questions. And actually, if somebody follows on this matter, there is a lot of new literature, specifically from a philosophical/ethical background by the Ivy League professors that are discussing this, because irrelevant of the technological breakthroughs, it is the very essence of the human existence. For the lady, sorry, I didn't retain her name, who mentioned about, somebody being replaced. This is a reality, probably, unfortunately. I read somewhere a couple of days ago that AI will not replace humans. It's somebody who uses AI that will replace somebody who does not use AI, just to summarize it in a way. So that's it. I just wanted to say I'm interested in AI. I follow a lot, I read a lot. Actually, I read a couple of days ago an article about how biases in AI had cost hundreds of thousands of people. I think the study was in the States, okay, by Harvard University Press, how the biases cost hundreds of thousands of people their, not jobs, but they were not accepted to the jobs that they had applied for. So yes, definitely addressing the biases, okay, is a great deal. And thank you.
Thank you, Elie.
Actually, I would like to comment on this one.
Yes,
I'm not with the idea of these biases, actually, because all this data are not kind of like not all information we can put in CVs or so on. Maybe you know lots of things, but you cannot enter those data there. So all data, let's say that's being inserted in those databases are kind of like not correct, and it doesn't define that this is a real bias or not, because you should compare exactly and ask exactly the same questions, or know everything about that person so that this bias doesn't happen. So again, we have this all issues about the data. Once they can figure out how they need to collect all these criteria and variables, then you can say that these biases will disappear. That's it.
Look, theoretically, I agree with you, but I think that by mentioning Harvard Business Review and Harvard University, I think by the mere fact, okay, we can't trust anyone 100%, whomever it is. I agree with this. But I mean, there is some way of trustworthiness when you are talking about, these universities, because if they don't care about the veracity of the data that they present, they should be thinking about their own, credibility towards the public. So it's not like I understand your concern, but it's not only about those people who will inflate their CVs. No, I think this The study carried about, qualified people. I'll be more than happy to share it with Dr. Fadi if somebody's interested, so he can send it, even though, please, if you were to receive it, let's think about the, copyright. But it's a very interesting piece of article. Okay, and if anybody is interested, I will.
Sure, dear. But the only thing that I'm saying that because I've been into AI and I've been working in AI and all data that we got, okay, it wasn't enough for us to define that it's the engine is correctly working or not. That's why I'm just saying that there are lots of variables that we don't know about it, and even some of them you think that it works on your let's say community, but on others it doesn't, because there are lots of other cultural barriers and so on that it doesn't work there. That you should dig in and find more.
Thank you, Talar. Thank you. I'm really sorry. This is a very, very interesting topic, I think, and it will not be our last webinar with Christophe, but because Christophe has another commitment in a few minutes, so I'm sorry, we'll be answering maybe your questions through email. We'll be organizing another webinar for sure. Thank you so much for assisting, and I'll give the floor to Christophe, the last word.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah, it's definitely an exciting discussion, and it doesn't end. So I'm sorry I have to leave, but hopefully we'll have another session. We can answer all questions. And as Fadi said, whatever you need, reach out. We can support you by email. And hopefully you enjoyed today's session and you're more interested in exploring AI in different ways, especially in sustainable development. So thank you all for sticking till the end, and hopefully we'll see you again soon.
Thank you so much, Christophe. Thank you to everyone.
Bye-bye.
So we'll be sending you the recording. Thank you. So we'll be sending the webinar again. You can access to the presentation, and looking forward to see you very, very soon. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.